Okay, modelers, so going to do a bit of a review today of a fairly old kit. This thing's been around for a while, but the reason I'm doing this is because my last review I put up on a kit was the new Airfix 72nd scale, and I got into a bit of a conversation with one of my mates in the comments there about the older Monogram and Revell kits, and I mentioned to him I've got a few in the stash, and he was saying he'd love to get his hands on this particular one here, the Monogram one, which has got a few upgrades compared to the older Revell one apparently. And so I thought, oh well, I might just grab these out of the stash and do a quick review over them and let me mate see what I've actually got here. Like I said to him, if he was here in Australia I'd probably give him this one because I've got two of these on the shelf and I'm probably never ever going to build both of them. I'd love to build one obviously, but not both. Now another thing with these two, I know one of them comes with a clear fuselage side, one side that's clear, and you can buy that separate as well. I've seen it around at swap meets and things, and I did have one at one stage, but I'm pretty sure I either sold it or gave it away to someone. I can't remember, but I can't find it here, so I must have got rid of it. This one here I got off a friend in the club. This particular one, he's thrown in a set of resin wheels and things in there and a few other things that he's done. But as you can see by the box, she's been around. It's almost a shame to build some of these old kits like this because the box itself tells the story. This thing's been on shelves and been all over the place. So, and at the time I can't remember what I paid for it, but it wasn't much because it was, you know, one of them swap things between mates in the clubs and stuff like that. So we'll do a quick run through of what's in this box. I'll quickly show you, you know, what the parts and stuff are like on these. Be pre-warned, these are not your new kits, guys. These are pretty old and they're fairly chunky and stuff like that, but they still build up to a beautiful kit. So anyway guys, we'll keep going on with this bit of a review, and just looking at the box art you can see it's all there. It tells you the whole story. B-17s, gotta love them, absolutely love these things. Doesn't matter what version, whatever, I love them all. The rest of the box, I sort of don't want to pick the whole thing up and move it around because it's getting a bit flimsy, but I'll take the lid off and we'll have a quick look here. There's a few pictures on one side there of her all painted up. Another little bit of a photo on that side. It's the same at the other side, and then on the other front side there you've got a bit of information about the aircraft itself. And one of the things I noticed, I quickly opened this up before. Now this is something that I've never ever seen happen with the decals, and these have gone a little bit strange. Look, I've seen how it was sticking to the plastic like that. When I pulled it out, you can see it now, it's actually, the whole surface of this has gone really tacky. It's just like it's almost melted sort of thing. It's really strange. So I don't know whether to leave it in the plastic or leave it out and see if it's going to dry, but I'm worried if it's out in the open. If I put it under storage might be right, but if I leave it out in the open, dust might settle in, I'll never get it out. I don't know. I've just never seen that before. I've seen them yellow, I've seen them start cracking and all that sort of stuff, but I've never seen them go tacky like that. It's not to say I'm going to use them, but I'd probably get some aftermarket ones anyway, depending on what version, but I'm just a little bit unsure of what to do with those. So if you know anything about that, what's happened there, guys, let me know in the comments, and just put something down there below. Let me know what's actually happened there and how to fix it if you know that. Anyway, here's our instruction book. Being an older kit, there's not a lot of steps in these, and like I say, the parts are fairly chunky. Most of the stuff's moulded into the plastic, but being 48 scale, you know you do expect a little bit of detail in these, even for older kits. And as you can see here, the first part of our cockpit, there's actually a bit of stuff going on there just to put that together. So they have got some nice detail in it. When we start looking at the plastic parts, you'll see it's not fine detail, but it's there. It's a little bit chunky, but it is all there. And again, once you lock her up inside and through the old canopies that are on this thing, you're not going to see a great deal anyway. I know you can get replacement vac form canopies and stuff for this, but it's not something I'd do. I'd love to actually be able to do this one just straight out of box and build up as nice as I can out of box, because to me, I feel it deserves that, to be an out of box build rather than trying to layer it all up with all the new gear. It's just a personal thing that I like doing with older kits, just to build them out of the box. And as you can see, all your painting instructions, everything are on there. One of the things, I know the glass is not that great in this kit, but we'll look at that when we get to it. Again, you know, like all your seat mounting and all that sort of stuff, it's all separate. But again, it looks great on the instructions, but a little bit chunky in real life. Then we've got like our base for the floor going to the middle there, side gunner positions. The interior, I know, has got all the ribbing and all that sort of stuff there. It's got painting instructions and things for all your, you know, your hose, oxygen hoses and stuff like that. Bit of wheel well stuff going on. Don't expect to be able to open the engines up on these guys because honestly there's not much in them. Unless you, again, you can get aftermarket stuff and that's fine. Not sure about, I have read a couple of people said they had fit issues, that the wings have got like slots and stuff so that you can't get them wrong and they go in, but apparently they don't sort of meet up when you slide them in there. But I'll have to see, because I've heard other people say no, there's nothing wrong with them, it's quite a good fit, especially for an older kit. Tail wings there, 2 pieces, again go over that slide you can see up there that makes sure she sits in nice and square. Tail gun there. Now here's our engines. Now I'm going to have to look at it again at the detail, but I think it's fairly chunky on these engines, but I will have a look when we go through the kit. But I have heard people say don't open the cowling because it's not that great unless you get aftermarket stuff. And here's our painting, decal and painting pages here. A couple of different versions there, even though they're in black and white, but it gives you a couple of different versions. Now there's a great little bonus that's in here. I'm not sure whether this came with the kit or whether my mates found this and added it to the kit at some stage, but this here is by a builder, Shep Payne. I don't know if some of the younger modelers may not have heard him, but most modelers in the industry know Shep Payne. The guy's a legend. He led the way years and years ago with lots of techniques and stuff like that. He an absolute legend in the modelling world. And this is one of his most famous dios that he built, and this is a bit of information on building dios with this specific aircraft. So it's got all the detail there, some lovely pictures of his dio, and honestly guys, for the day this stuff was just leaps and bounds ahead with what he'd done. It was just absolutely beautiful stuff, so it's lovely that's actually included in the kit. That's like a bit of a collector's thing to me. That's something that I'll always have with me. And as you can see, that tail picture there, absolutely gorgeous, the work he's done with that, the way she's all chewed up and that, and machine gun fire and flak, and yeah, beautiful stuff. Okay, so first lot here is our clear parts, and my mate, like me, always puts his clear stuff into a plastic bag. But even through the plastic, I could see before, these things have been around long enough now that they've sort of rubbed and there's a few marks on them, so they'll be polished up, and I'll be dipping them in a bit of Future or a little bit of the Johnson Long Life stuff there that I have. Again, they're fairly thick, and these older plastic, you don't expect too much from it. Now, holding my finger under that square part there, it's actually acting like a magnifier. I can see the pores in my skin, so that's how thick it is. It was almost acting like a magnifying glass, and I can see, looking through all these side windows, they're all distorted, so we'll clear them up and put them on. Like I say, I don't want to go and buy all aftermarket stuff and try and do too much with this. I'd rather do it out of the box like she is. I think it deserves that. And we'll seal that back up again, put it up there. Okay, we'll pull this big wing out. Now that's still in 2 halves, as you can see. It's just that they've been sort of stuck together like that in the box. Now, one of the first things you'll notice is that it's exterior lines, like they're protruding. You can feel them under your finger, and you can actually see them. They're fairly thick. They're not fine little seams. They're fairly well there. You know they're there. So that'll all have to be. You can make a decision here. I'm going to rescribe this thing because it just makes it so much prettier when it's all rescribed. And you know, I don't mind taking the time to do it, and I've got some tools to do all that stuff. But you don't have to. I've seen this thing done without rescribing the panel lines, and it looks fine. It honestly, you can work with external panel lines and still get some really nice results. In fact, if I do the other kit, the old Revell kit, I probably won't scribe those ones and show you the comparison and how to work with external panel lines without rescribing it all. But honestly, all the details there, all your rivet head, bolt heads, things are all there. You know, your fuel locks, all that sort of stuff, it's all on there. And you can see, this is what I was saying about everything moulded onto these older kits like this. Whereas the newer ones, you'll notice, like these things are normally built separate and then put on there separate. It's all separate parts. But in older kits, yeah, it's all there. Okay, so you can see she's a fairly big bird. That's a fair chunk of plastic there. But she's beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. And the thing is, building kits this size, then you've got to find somewhere to put them on your shelf. And with me, I am running out of room, so I'm actually starting to box some of my old stuff and put it aside to give me some room for the newer stuff that I build. But look, again guys, you can see all the external panel lines that are on there. These guys here, all the riveting's just beautiful on that, all around the windows is lovely. It's all really nice stuff for an older kit like this. It's all there, it's just those external panel lines. And again, like I say, you don't have to get rid of those, you can work with those. Okay, we'll go to the interior of the fuselage here. And as you can see, there's all this lovely detail in here. You know, like all your hosing, instruments, things like that. All your gauges, they're all in there. And anywhere you're going to be able to see into the fuselage, they've got all the ribbing inside there, up around our cockpits, and up around the nose here, where the bombardier and stuff sits. You can see some beautiful detail in there. Now again, I'm calling it beautiful, but for an older kit like this, honestly, that's leaps and bounds ahead of anything that was around. It was just absolutely gorgeous that they included this. Now there is a couple of injector pin marks. There's one right in the centre there. There's another one there. So they're things with older kits you'll have to be wary of. You can see another one there. So they're things you have to be wary of with older kits to get rid of those. Look for them and try and get rid of them. And in the nose section here, you may just be able to see those from the opposite side because the windows are big enough, and if the windows are clear enough, you may be able to see it. So I won't worry about showing the other side because it's pretty much the same, just the opposite. Then we've got our props. There's our tyres. Now I'll just quickly find it. Here it is here. My mate actually bought a set of resin tyres for this guy, and you can see it's got the flat part underneath there where she's sitting. You know, they're weighted and bulging, so that's really nice that I've got that in this kit. Fantastic to have that. But there's nothing wrong with the ones that are in the kit. They've got all the tread pattern in them, and you can flatten them and bulge them yourself if you know the techniques to do that. It's not hard. But there's places online you can see some great videos and tutorials on how to do that. Props are nice. Now, some of the nice things that I love about these old kits, you can see the navigator table here. You can actually see the wood grain in it, and you can feel it. There's actually wood grain moulded into that plastic, so that's a lovely touch. It's probably a bit heavy-handed, but it's still really nice that that's in there. The gauges, all our gauge and instrument panels, all this stuff here is beautiful. Again, older, a bit chunkier, but still beautiful stuff. One of the things you may be able to see, I'm not sure if you're picking it up on the video or not, but there's a bit of flashing on lots of stuff around the machine gun barrels here. Lots of these parts have got flashing on it. And it's something you took with older kits. Most of them had flashing, unless maybe Tamir or something, but most of it had a bit of flashing. It was just part of the challenge of building older kits and that, and cleaning that flash up. Look, even some of the newer stuff has flash on some of the parts. It's just something you deal with as a modeler. Just as a bit more on this. And the center seam lines that are on all the mouldings, they're fairly heavy. You just expect that with older kits, guys. But it's not a problem. It just takes a bit more sanding and cleaning to get rid of it. But it's not a problem to deal with. It's fairly easy to deal with that sort of thing. So I can get this out properly. And my mate, one of the things he does, like you see the fuselage halves are actually been taken off the sprues. I think it's something he does so that doesn't get warped or anything sitting in the box where they get sort of twisted with the sprue. But looking around here, there's the inside of our tail gun. We'll look at it, and you've got your padding and everything in there. It's really nice. Bulkheads with all the detail on them. So like I say, these older kits, you don't just write them off and say, oh, yeah, it's just going to be a bare hunk of plastic that'll have to add everything to. There's some really nice detail in this old girl. Really, really nice. So this is going to build up beautiful. Even our bombs are really nicely moulded there. But like I say, if you want to do even more justice to it as far as detail and that, you can buy lots of aftermarket stuff for this old girl. Like I say, there's even a clear side, so if you want to have all that beautiful detail showing, there's a clear side you can buy and put on it as well. And there's actually a version of this you can buy that comes with the kit with a clear side in it. So this is again like that last one there. Look at the landing gear here, again really nice. That's all pretty much the same. Just look at the wings there, exactly the same as the other side. But yep, all nice. And here we get on to our last little bit in the box. And here's our engines. Now, I'm just looking at that. They're actually not that bad, to be honest. I thought they were a lot worse than that from memory, but they're actually not too bad. You could actually leave those cowlings open and show that a little bit if you want. There's no backing in behind that. That may be an issue, but you'd be able to do something, put underneath it and cover it, or do something to put a backing in behind it. But that's all right. And as you see, look, we got crew here. Here's a little man with his spanner working underneath there. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got 5 little crew members there hanging around doing their different little jobs and stuff like that. Got our cockpit centre up here. Again, some lovely little detail built into that. Our bomb housings. And that's pretty much it, guys, as far as what it goes. And like I said, the detail's all there. It's just, like I say, a little bit bulkier, but nice touches. Like here, you can see these are actually wooden panels on here. You can see the grain on them. It's actually moulded in the plastic, the grain work on there. So it's nice stuff like that that can really make a kit. Again, you can see, look at all that flash in the centre there. That extends onto the parts in places. You can see bits of flash hanging off it. Honestly, that's just something you put up with older kits, and it's not that hard to deal with at the end of the day. It just takes a bit of time. Looking at the crew members from memory, I didn't think they were that great, but looking at them now, it's actually quite nicely detailed. It's all there, and very nicely detailed. Actually, for the older figures like that, very nice. Even the guy's clipboard here has got the proper little clipping and stuff, and you can see the sheets of paper, corners, and yeah, so quite nice. So, like I say, for an older kit, guys, she's really one of those. To me, it's like a collector's thing, like they just don't make them like this anymore. And some people say, yeah, thank God they don't. But to be honest, I love some of these older kits, and I remember how exciting it was when these things come out. Now, talking about flashing, look here, there's big flakes of flashing. They're just lying in the bottom of this box that have obviously fallen off some of these sprues somewhere. But anyway, look, guys, I just noticed my battery's about to run out, so look, I'll quickly finish this video off now without sprouting on too much. I won't worry about putting links in this video for you guys, because honestly I don't know whether you'll find these kits anymore in many places. I'll have a look, and if they are around, I'll add them down there, but expect to pay a bit for them in some places. But yeah, if they're there and I find them, I'll add them, but otherwise there mightn't be any links down there, guys. But like always, if you're not subbed, please sub below. If you like the video, hit that like button down there, guys. Look at my other links, Patreon, Facebook, all that sort of thing. I'll do another review straight away now on the Revell kit, straight after this one when I change the battery, obviously. But like always, guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.